Do you want to build trust and transparency within your team? Hi, I'm Marina, and I've been in technology for over 15 years, and I want to talk to you about building a strong foundation for your team with trust and transparency. When people talk about trust in business, I don't know if everybody knows this. Well, when people talk about trust in business, it's not about like trusting your employer is gonna hire you, like is gonna keep you on board forever, trusting I don't know, your team members with your secrets. Is not that. It's really about being able to feel safe enough to fail and knowing that you're not gonna get immediately fired for those failures. I'm gonna add a big caveat here because I feel like I just have to. I don't know, in this world of the internet and social media, I don't mean like offend somebody personally calling the names failure. I mean, people generally make mistakes at work and in life. That is 100% normal. And most people on a team want to feel like they can trust each other to not only admit the failure, but also being able not to be blamed and taken only responsibility for it. One of the oldest stories about not blaming team members for failure is actually when I was working at Instagram. They always tell this story. There was an intern in the very beginning or the beginning of the company that took down the servers for Facebook and actually took down the server for like a solid day. Can you imagine being the person that takes down Facebook? How scared you may feel, how you feel like you may never, as an intern, especially a new person with a job, how you may never feel like you'll ever be able to find a new job. Instead, what the company did and what the manager did at the time was something called a retrospective. So they got the team together and decided, okay, let's look at what happened. How was this one person able to do this? So this person was able to do this because they committed this number of steps. So we look at the steps that made this possible. And then they were able to mitigate those steps and so that it wouldn't happen again in the future. The company was actually extremely thankful that this has happened. And they created the culture notoriously known for go fast and break everything. And that's really kind of like where it came from, or at least that's what they told us. So people in a team need to feel like they can trust each other with their failures, and also collaborate to create solutions, right? No one person has the best solution for everything. And so putting everybody together to create the best solution possible is really what we are aiming for. Now, how do you actually build and maintain trust within your team? So one of the things we talked about already is the no blame, right? No pointing fingers at each other and spending time figuring out who is going to be the head that is going to get chopped from the block. I don't know how to say that. You get what I mean. Another thing that I really like is learn from your mistakes, right? How many times can one or multiple person make the same mistake and not learn from it? That's an interesting question, and I think it depends on the gravity of the situation. If we're talking about saving lives, well, I mean, the consequences are pretty huge. If we're talking about, I don't know, a wrong spelling, well, maybe there's a little bit more of training or help that they need to get in order to not make that mistake again, if that makes sense. Last but not least, I would say I want to talk a little bit about responsibility, which is not the same for blame. Responsibility is about making sure that the things are addressed at the end. You cannot believe how many times we've found an issue, we know what caused it, and then some manager, executive, or budget says, oops, we don't have the resources to fix it. Well, naturally, we can put a little bit of controls around that, but it's just going to happen again eventually, right? So taking on the responsibility to make sure that we have a fix in place, whether it's short-term or long-term, is extremely important for keeping up the trust both ways. I trust you with my failures, and you trust me to fix my mistakes. Needless to say here that transparency and communication is extremely important for creating trust. And transparency is defined in so many different ways based on the company where you work for and the type of privacy and then things like that. So, I mean, that all depends on your company, but I would say if people feel like they can trust the organization, their managers, and each other in our organization, you'll know. And I know you know. So go with that gut feeling and find that trust and transparency to build a strong foundation for your team.